This is Annapolis Week on MarylandReporter.com. I'm Len Lazarick, and with me today is Senate Majority Leader Rob Garagiola of Montgomery County. The senator is the lead sponsor for two major pieces of legislation that are already making news. One is a proposal to increase gas taxes and registration fees to start filling the depleted Transportation Trust Fund. The other is a bill to make same-sex marriages legal in Maryland. Thanks for being here, Senator.
Thank you, Len. Appreciate the opportunity.
Gas taxes are going up. The economy is still sluggish. Why do you want to raise gas taxes?
Well, I think many of our constituents are dealing with the most congested roads in the country. Washington's number one, Baltimore's number two. We have about 45% of our roads in poor condition. The recession depleted our trust fund by about $300 million. We can't afford to wait any longer to get new revenues into the trust fund. This is something we need to do this year. It's never a good time to go to the voters and try to raise revenue on any matter, but this one will produce local jobs to improve our roads, pave our roads, construct our roads, as well as give us the long-term investment of those roads and transit infrastructure.
But what about the trust in the trust fund? There's very little trust.
Well, there's two aspects of the bill. One is to look at revenues and to bring revenues into the trust fund so we can move the state forward and get out of the gridlock. The second aspect of the bill, which I would say, if not as important, probably more important, is a constitutional amendment that would say that there cannot be any future raids, whether this governor, future governor, of the trust fund. If we're going to tell our voters we're going to raise certain fees or gas taxes and the money's going to the trust fund, we need to have the credibility when we look them in the eye that it actually will go to the trust fund and will go to our roads and will go to our transit, and that's what this constitutional amendment would do.
Do you think this can really happen this year?
I do. I think that it gets very difficult in an election year, obviously, if you're looking ahead to 2014. Typically 2013, the year before an election year, is a difficult time. We have tolls in certain parts of the state that are likely to be going up this year, regardless of what the legislature does, and I think because of that, it's going to be even more difficult in 2012 than it is this year to try to raise those revenues. To me, this is the year to do it, and the sooner we get that money back into our local economy with engineering jobs, paving jobs, construction jobs, the sooner we'll get the stimulative effect from those transportation dollars to help move our economy forward.
Really switching gears, but you also happen to be the lead sponsor on the same-sex marriage bill. You're a married guy with 3 kids,
right.
Former Army reservist.
Right.
Why are you the lead sponsor on this controversial bill?
Well, I would say 10 years from now, my feeling is much like with whether it was interracial marriage or civil rights in the 50s and 60s, many people are going to look back 10 years from now and scratch their head and say, why was this ever even a big issue? And I really believe that's what people are going to say as they look to the future. I've been involved in this issue in a piecemeal approach in the past. Mm-hmm. There are over 400 rights right now in Maryland law that say, or opposite sex, in other words, my wife and myself, have the benefit of under the state civil marriage license that we go to the circuit court to get, and other Marylanders do as well, that same-sex couples can avail themselves of. And federal rights, there's about 1,000. This, to me, is a civil rights issue to apply rights equally, regardless of the sex or gender of the couple.
There's a whole group of black ministers, though, who say this is a misconstruction of what civil rights is about. They don't have a choice about being black, but you have a choice about being gay.
You know, there's an argument about the veracity of that, and there's a lot of other black ministers and clergy and leaders in other different religions and denominations that actually see this as a civil rights issue. And for those that don't and couch it in those types of terms, there are many more. And I think that evolution is going to continue into the future that will say it is a civil rights issue. And I do believe in 10 years we'll look back and say, what was all the fuss? Much like we look back now.
And as opposed to last year, it does seem like you have the votes this year in both houses.
We're getting very close. We're getting very close. I would say there's a very good chance that we're able to move this legislation this year. I'm very hopeful.
Thank you for being with us today, and thanks for watching Annapolis Week on MarylandReporter.com.